Great to have you back. Lesson 8.3 is about tagging for part of speech with the TreeTagger part of speech tagger. So let's get cracking. The objective is that students will tag for part of speech with a third-party software, TreeTagger, using a Python wrapper. TreeTagger is a part of speech tagger that's been around for, I don't know, I think it was started in the 90s. So, 2+ decades now. It's an oldie but a goodie because it tags many different languages. There are other ones that they're newer and shinier and more bells and whistles and probably do a better job, slightly better job. But the cool thing about TreeTagger is it has many different languages that it supports. So the first thing you got to do is install this software, which is not a trivial process. Okay, so I'm going to actually walk through it right now to install this software. All right, I have a link here in my lesson plan to TreeTagger right there on my lesson plan. I linked to the TreeTagger. If you just Google TreeTagger, I assume it will be right near the top of the results. TreeTagger, part of speech tagger for many languages. You can see all the languages that it has here. German is made in Germany by a native German speaker, all the way down through here. Okay. German, English, French, Italian, Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, Dutch, Spanish, Bulgarian, Russian, Portuguese, and others in here. Even Latin, a dead language. Dead in the sense that no one speaks Latin as their first language these days. Spanish and French and Italian and Romanian are descendants of Latin, but old French text as well. I think even has old Spanish in here, I believe. Okay, so let's just walk through how to install this software. So if we're in a lab, we could do it together, and actually I would have a lab assistant just install on the lab computers. But so we need to do it ourselves here. And the instructions are pretty straightforward. So let's take a look at this. It says download. So first, download the tagger package for your system. If you're running Windows, right, you would use the PC one. It says PC-Linux there. If you're using Mac, you would use this one. If you have some other, then you probably already know how to do this. I'm going to click on Mac since I'm running the Mac. It'll download a zip file. For now, I'll just put it right in my downloads just to keep it simple. So it is now downloaded to my downloads folder. I'll go there and show you. I should have a file now called TreeTagger right there. Let me expand this out to the right there. TreeTagger macOS 3.2.3 targes. Targes is a type of zip file. If I just unzip it, I'll just double click here. On Windows, you might need to right click and say like, somehow unzip it, right? If you're using like, what is it called? 7-zip, you unzip it. Somehow you got to unzip it so that it creates a directory. The point is it'll create a directory here. So now right next to the zip file that I had a second ago, I have a directory. And then within the directory, I have all these things. I have a bin, which is binary file, command there. Here's some documentation stuff, file, here's a README. Okay, so the point is we now have a directory called TreeTagger macOS 3.2.3. Again, if you're using Windows, you would need to download the Windows version, the Windows file right here, this link, this PC link right there. And then next thing, number 2, says download the tagging scripts into the same directory. So if you just click on the word tagging scripts, you can see it's a link, it's in blue, right? So I'm going to click on it. And now I want to put it into that same directory I just created by unzipping the previous file. So if I jump down, now I see that I have a directory right there. See how it says TreeTagger. This is a directory. It's a folder right below it. I can see that's grayed out that there's the targes zip file. I'm going to put it in here. Okay. Let that go. Download it. Then now it says 3, download the installation script, install tagger sh, which is a shell script. Again, I want it in the same directory, this TreeTagger macOS 3.2.3. Again, if you're using Windows, it'll have a different name, but the TreeTagger directory, we're going to install the install tagger sh script, which is shell. Then it says download the parameter files for the languages you want to process. If I click on parameter files, it'll jump me down on that same web page down to this section called parameter files. You can see all the languages they have support for. So I'll just go ahead and download a couple here. I'll do English, make sure it's going into the same directory, TreeTagger. Yep, it is. Terrific. In fact, I wanted the other one. You might want to get the first one. There's two here. Probably get the first one for English. And I'll just leave it there. I'll get French here as well. Make sure it's going into the TreeTagger directory we just created. There's a spoken French, interesting. I'll grab German. Let's grab a handful here. Spoken German, nice. I'll grab Danish as well. A little bit of Dansk. Let me grab Spanish. So I'll grab the first one there, two here on Spanish. I'll grab the first one there. Anything else? Let me grab Russian. I think I have a Russian example I'm going to show you here in a minute. Where's Russian? Right there, Russian parameter file. And I think Bulgarian. I'll grab the Bulgarian one as well. Okay, so I grabbed 5 or 6 parameter files. If I come over here in my Finder and look at it, I can see there's Danish, Parges, English, BNC. I'm going to get rid of that BNC one and just have the English right there, Parges, French, German, Spanish, and it's still downloading a couple there, so I'll let those finish. Okay. Okay. It's working on the Russian there still. It's a 110 megabyte file. That's taking a little bit of time. Anyway, so you download the language that you want to tag with. And you can see they have quite a bit of support here, quite a few languages. I got Mongolian these days, awesome. And Slovenian, Swedish is down there. Okay, so we've done that. I've done that where I've downloaded the parameter files for the languages I want to process. And then I need to open a terminal window and run the installation script in the directory where you have downloaded the files with this little bit of code right there. And let me just let Russian finish up here. What I can do while Russian is finishing up, I'll show you how to get open to a terminal window. There's a couple ways you can get a terminal window. If you have experience with computer programming and computers in general, then you probably know how to do it. But if you don't, you can do so within PyCharm. PyCharm allows you to use a terminal window within PyCharm itself. So under the view menu, tool, windows, and the last option is terminal. So if you click on terminal, down here at the bottom, it opens up this interactive terminal shell. Now, this is not the Python console. We're not dealing with Python right now. We're dealing with the computer itself. And what you'll need to do is get into the directory, get into your TreeTagger directory. So depends on where you are. On Mac or Linux, you would type pwd to print working directory. It tells you where you currently are in the terminal. On Windows, you just look at the pathway. Windows, I think, gives you the full pathway of where you currently are. And the way to change directories is with cd space, and then to go up one directory higher in the file system, you do ... Right, so for right now, I'm in users EKB5. If I want to go up to users, I would type cd space ... or period, right, and push enter on the keyboard. And now I'm in users. But if I want to go down a directory, I'd type the directory name. So cd space EKB5 would put me down into that directory. Now I know that that TreeTagger directory is in my downloads, so I need to get into my downloads. And so from within the directory that has the downloads directory, I'm going to type cd space downloads, push enter. Now the reason I know that downloads is within EKB5 is because in my Finder, I see EKB5 and I see downloads right there. And within downloads, I see that the TreeTagger directory is right here. Right, so we have this hierarchical structure, the file system structure. I need to get that working directory down into that TreeTagger directory. So here I'm in downloads. I need to go down one more into TreeTagger. By the way, if you start typing something, like I just typed TRE and I push tab on my keyboard, it'll autofill. If it finds a directory, or yeah, if it finds a directory, it'll autofill it for it. Then I just push enter. So now I'm in here, and if I want to see what's in here on Mac or Linux, I push LS, and you can look at what's in here. And there's all my stuff. Here are my parameter files that I downloaded a second ago. Here's the installation script. Okay. On Windows, I believe it's dir. dir would show you what's in your current working directory on Windows. Okay. So let's just double check that Russian parameter file is done. Looks like they're all done. Awesome. Let me just double check that none of them have a little icon that shows that they're still moving. Nope. Okay, we're all good in here. And so back over here in my PyCharm within the terminal window, I'm going to type in the command, which I need to go back and refresh my memory on. So I can either copy and paste it or just type in sh space install dash tagger dot sh. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Sh install. Again, I'm going to just go ahead and click the tab after about 4 letters, and it does indeed fill out the rest for me. So I have sh space install dash tagger dot sh. Push enter on the keyboard, and it starts going and going and going, and then good. And it says, just kind of had a bunch of stuff. Good. All this is working. Good, good, good. Tagging scripts installed. These are installed. All these language parameter files are installed. It's telling me that I may want to add this, these 2 directories to my path, my system level path. We're not going to worry about that for the moment. We'll give the full pathway. Okay, so good. That is how you install the software on your computer. If you want, you can test it out like they say. This is how you can test it out and see if it works. Make a test. So I'll just copy that little bit of code where it says echo hello world pipe. That actually is a pipe. It's not. It's visually diagonal because they have italicized, but it's actually vertical. The vertical pipe, which is the key above enter. Shift, the key above enter. So I'm just going to copy that. Come over to here. Just paste it in there. And TreeTagger would cannot be opened because the developer cannot be verified. Okay, this here is a Mac thing. Mac has increased their security settings for external software. And so if you have a Mac and it does this, you're going to need to do the following. So here's the error message. I'm running Big Sur Mac 10.15, I believe it is. Mac. Oh, it's 11, Mac 11. All right, we're up to 11. Cool. Anyway, so what you say is cancel. And then on a Mac, you come into your system preferences here, the gearbox, right? Go to security and privacy, this little house with the lock on the front. And then here at the bottom, you see it says TreeTagger was blocked from use because it is from an is not from an identified developer. Then here it says allow anyway. So I'm going to say allow anyway. Okay. And let me try that little, if I push the up arrow on my keyboard, Mac cannot be verified. Are you sure you want to open it? I say, yeah, I really do want to do this. Okay. He's saying, it's again saying, wait, seriously, this is an unidentified developer. Are you sure you want to do this? I say, yes, I know this guy. I've had personal contact with this guy in Germany. I know it's a good software. He's not going to try and do anything crazy with my computer. So I say open. And it runs the software. So here we have the token hello. Here we have the part of speech. And then here we have the lemma. Let me just give you a little more interesting example than that. Let's say, how about I am Earl Brown, period. There we go. I is the token. PP's, I think this is Penn Tree Bank tag set. Personal pronoun, I believe. M is a present tense verb, and here's the lemma, B. So this is kind of cool. It gives you the lemma, which is like the family of words that this word belongs to. And these are proper nouns, and there's a sentence punctuation. So it's working correctly. TreeTagger is working on my hard drive correctly. So that was a long, big old involved process to get this third-party software working. Okay, so if you get stuck, I'm very happy to help you during my office hours. Okay, but at this point, you should have TreeTagger working, like I just did with that little test, and just working from within a system level console, system level terminal command line prompt. Now, there are several Python wrappers that wrap around TreeTagger. Once again, wrapper in software speak just means that it's a piece of software that controls another piece of software and gets the results and brings it back to the first software. So we're going to use Python to control TreeTagger, have TreeTagger do the work, get the results from TreeTagger and bring it back into Python so we can use it as we want in Python. Okay. So there's one called, very transparently, TreeTagger wrapper right here. Okay. There's the website for it, the PYPI website for it. Now, so we're gonna have to install this this little wrapper. It's a module we're gonna have to install in Python. So what we do in Python is we get to that preferences window, right? On Windows, I believe it's under File Settings. So you get to this preferences window, and make sure you're down here on project name, project interpreter. If you don't have it, I already have it because I just did it a minute ago before I started the video. You click on the plus sign, right, and search for TreeTagger. There it is, the third one, TreeTagger wrapper. I'm not sure what this JK is. I'm going to use the TreeTagger wrapper without that JK at the front. This third one, TreeTagger wrapper without that JK. And say install packages. After a few seconds, it should say package TreeTagger wrapper install successfully down here where my cursor is circling. Awesome. Let me say, okay, terrific, thank you. And then what you do after you've done all this setup is it's pretty straightforward. You import TreeTagger wrapper into your PY file. Then you call TreeTagger wrapper.T TreeTagger with both capital T's there, tree and tagger. And then the first argument is the tag directory. And this is the pathway to that directory that has all the stuff we just downloaded. So we need to point to that directory, whatever it's called on your computer. And on my computer, it's within my users, my net ID KB5, within downloads, and within TreeTagger Mac OS X 323 with some dashes and dots in there. Okay, so that's the pathway I need to point to. So that's the first argument to this function. The second argument is the tag language. What language do you want to tag? And you give a two-letter language code. For example, for English, it's EN, right? EN for English. ES is the two-letter language code for Spanish. DE is the two-letter code for Deutsch or German. DA is the two-letter code for Danish, etc. Okay. So you do that. You create a variable called tagger or whatever variable you want to call it, but I'll call it tagger just to be transparent. And then you do that. Excuse me, you do up to this point right here. And then on that variable name that you define above, you say variable name dot tag text, and you pass in the text that you want to tag. And then that creates, you say that to a variable, we'll call it tags. And then I'll print that out, but then, you can also make it a pretty printed tags, which I'll show you in a second. So let me just take all this code that I have here in my lesson plan, just copy it over to my PY file. Let me not overwrite the text itself. Well, I'm doing it already right here, so I don't need to paste it in. The only thing I may want to paste in, I already do right there. Okay, let's look at this. So I import TreeTagger. On TreeTagger, I call the TreeTagger function, which with capital T in tree and tagger there. I save it to a variable name, whatever variable name I want, right? And then tag directory is, again, from the top of my system all the way down to that directory. This is pointing to a directory. And then I have tag language. So I'll start with EN. Let's start with English here. I had Spanish in there as well. Use that in a second. let me just get this out of the way so it's very clear what we're doing. Let me get this out of the way and just put it down here out of the way for a moment. Okay, so then specify the language here. Very good. Then we have the text. So here's the text. I, Nephi, haven't been born of goodly parents, so I'm just gonna tag 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 1. I, Nephi, haven't been born of goodly parents. Therefore, I was taught someone all the learning of my father, having seen many afflictions in the course of my days, etc. So I'm passing that text into this tag underscore text, which is a method on this object. This is technically we'll call an object, but that's the same variable name, right? Tagger here, tagger there, dot tag text. I pass in the text. I save it to some variable. I'll call it tags. Let me show you first what that does. Let me just print out tags for the moment, and let me comment that out. I'm going to run the script so we can look at the result, and then we'll make it even prettier. There's a little warning message up there, but it didn't stop. It didn't stop my script from running, so that was good. I'll have to check those out later, but it didn't stop it from working. Because down here I have I, tab, pp, tab, I. Again, with TreeTagger, you get the token and the POS tag, part of speech tag, and then the lemma, which is the family of words that it belongs to. By family of words that it belongs to, lemma, what I'm referring to is, for example, the words be, am, are, is, was, and were all belong to the same family. And the family that they belong to is represented by be, like to be. The verb to be has a bunch of different members of that family of words. And so when I say lemma, I'm referring to the member of the family that represents that family. So anyway, yeah, so this worked. We got Nephi, noun, proper noun, Nephi, good. Having been born of goodly parents. So we have having the token, we have the POS tag, which is VHG. Let's see what that happens to represent. I'm not sure what that means. Let me just go to pen, treebank, VHG. VHG, oh, this is not the exact same tag set, huh? You know what? So with TreeTagger, the way you can look at the tag set is if you come down here and look at your parameter file, here's the English, excuse me. You can see here it says tag set documentation right there. If I click on that, it'll bring me, okay, it's giving me the big old massive documentation about each of the tags. If I just search for VHG, what would happen on this? Did not find it, which surprises me. VHG, right? Yeah. Anyway, there's a part of speech tag. You can see that the family that word having belongs to is have. Here's Ben, VBN, B. So that's working. It tagged it with TreeTagger, part of speech tagger, and brought it back into Python for us to use over here. Okay, so that looks good. See, as you can see, it returns a list in square brackets, and each element is a string. And each part of the string is divided by tabs here. You can see that the \T represents a tab. Now we can use this pretty right here, this make tags function. If we pass in this list of already tagged, strings right here, we pass it into make tags. It kind of creates what I'll call pretty tags. So let's rerun the script and let's see what it looks like. I'm not sure what that warning is, but anyway, it doesn't stop it. So let's jump back up to the first part of this verse right here. Let me zoom in a bit. So you can see that it returns a list again. In this case, each element is an object called tag. It has three things. It has a word, POS, and a lemma. And so you can get down into these if you want. Like I think if I were to go print pretty tags, if I were to index into the first thing, I bet it would give me that first tag only. Yeah, it gives me that first tag only. And then on that, I think I think I can drill down even farther and get into like, what's the lemma of this first thing. Oh, this is a tuple. Got it. So these are tuples, so you can just do it by position. So I want the third thing, which has an index of 2, right? So let me actually, this is a little confusing. So pretty tags is a big list. I want to look at the first tuple, which has an index of 0. Within that first tuple, there are 3 things. And I want to look at the third thing, which has an index of 2. Let's see if that gives me that lemma. Yeah, there it is right there. So you could do whatever you want with this, right? You could take this and loop over it and say, okay, for t in tags, which well, I guess we'll go pretty tags here, pretty tags. We want to print out the first thing, and then whatever you want to do with it at that point, right? You can loop over it, put it into a for loop, and do some more processing, post-processing with it, whatever you may want to do. Anyway, it's printing out the token, POS tag, lemma, token, POS tag, lemma, however you want to use it at that point. That is a quick rundown on how you can use the TreeTagger part of speech tagger to do that. Let me just kind of expose the most kind of the meat of the script right here. If you want to look at that and make it work on your end, go ahead and do so now. You just need to be aware that this pathway needs to be different. It'll be different because your computer pathway is not going to be the same as mine, right? So you need to find out where on your computer the directory is. Okay. Pause the video and make it work. Go ahead. All right. So the practice here is to tag for part of speech, first thing 511 in the Book of Mormon in several different languages from among the languages with parameter files on your hard drive. Okay, so here's a hint. In order to tag text in the language, you must have had the parameter file in the TreeTagger directory on your computer when you installed the software. That is when you ran the bash command, this one command we ran earlier. If that wasn't the case, you can download the parameter file of the desired language and rerun the installer script. That is the bash command, right? So try this. Go get, first thing 511 in Spanish and put in ES as the tag lang right there and give it a try and see if it works. And again, you're going to get different tags. And so what you'll need to do is come over here and find the parameter file that you used. For Spanish, I downloaded the first one. There are 2 there. I downloaded the first one there. And so the tag documentation, tag set documentation is right here. And you can look at it in through here. So I'd encourage you to stop the video and try at least another language or 2 or 3 for parameter files you already have installed. Okay, give it a try. All right, let me show you. I'll try Spanish here real quick. I had already installed, I had already downloaded the Spanish parameter file before I installed the software. So I think it should work without a hitch. So if I change this to ES and comment out this little bit of code and grab my Spanish down here, bring it up, I'll put it right here. A better way to do this would be to create a variable called text or something that just has the text itself. I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm going to cut this out. We're going to pass in text here. We're going to put text up here. So we're just going to save first if I want to a variable called text, and we'll pass in that variable there. And I'm not going to print all this stuff out anymore. I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff. I don't think I'll need any of this stuff. I don't think I'll do that either. Okay, I just want to print out the pretty tags. Okay, let's try it. Run the script. All right, let's take a look. So we got yo, comma, nefi, comma, nací, I was born, de, of, buenos, good, padres, parents, y. Okay, so yeah, let's look like it's working here. We got word, POS, and lemma. Again, these POS tags, these part of speech tags are specific to the language, are specific to the parameter file. And so you need to, once again, you need to go to the TreeTagger website and find the parameter file that you use to tag it with. I use the first one of these two Spanish ones. Click on the tag set documentation and look down for the part of speech tag you need. This one, the first one, PPX, yo, clitics and personal pronouns. Yeah, that's right. We have a personal pronoun here. Yo is I in Spanish. And then NP, nefi. NP, I bet, is proper noun, proper nouns. There you go. Nailed it. So maybe I'll try Danish real quick just for fun. Well, I don't have it. Let's see, what do I have already in here? Let's try some more real quick. Here's German. I can recognize that as being German right there. In my solution file, just grab a little bit of German and put it right on top of my Spanish right there. Let me get rid of this English down here out of the way, just keep things a little bit cleaner on this script. So I need to change this ES to DE, which is the 2-letter abbreviation for Deutsch, that is German, in German. And there we go. All right, so ich, comma, I'm not trying to pronounce German at all, so I think I'll just stop right there. Here, again, the POS tags are specific to language, so PPER, I don't know what that is. So I'm gonna come back over to TreeTagger and go up to the German parameter file that I downloaded, which is right here. TreeTag documentation, I'm looking right in this line right here. Click on that. And PPER, I don't know what that is. Let's look at this list. PPER, there it is. Irreflexive personal pronouns. Pronouns, we have a plural marker in German right there. I recognize that from like oxen, children. Ich. So that worked. Anyway, let me try Russian just real quick and that'll be it. I'm not sure which one of these things on my solution file is Russian. I should have marked these. I think this one's Russian. Let me put on my glasses here. I'm not totally sure. I don't know Russian. Let's just try it and see what happens here. I think it's Russian, and I think the abbreviation is RU. Run the script. And let's see what it does. Finished. And I don't even know at all. Let's take a look at this POS tag with the Russian part of speech tagger tag set. So I go down to Russian, and here's the parameter file. Here's the tag set trained on a corpus tag set. Terrific. Okay, it's organized a little bit wonkily, a little bit weird. I gotta zoom out quite a bit so it doesn't make it weird. Let me just look for this NSF. Let's look for NSF, SNN, NSF, SNN. There it is right there. Noun, nominative, feminine, singular, common. Anyway, honestly, I'm not sure how well this did. I'm not sure if that's Russian right there. That may be Bulgarian or something else. I'm not totally sure. But the idea is that TreeTagger has a lot of languages that it supports. And so if you can't find a better or some other more popular part of speech tagger for your specific language, you could always come back here to TreeTagger. And it does a really good job, a pretty good job. So that's TreeTagger. It's not too hard. Once you get this software set up and it's installed correctly, you can see that the code itself in Python's not bad at all. Not a whole lot of code going on here. We're just using these functions. It does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, right? Calling TreeTagger and doing all the work and getting stuff back. But for us in Python, there's not a whole lot of work for us to do once we get things set up correctly. Okay, so hopefully at this point, you are able to, or at least see how you could tag for part of speech with the third-party software TreeTagger using a Python wrapper. And that brings us to an end of another episode of Text Processing and Analysis. See you next time.